What's up, guys? It's your boy Icy Boy Gamer here, back with another video. And in today's video, we got 5 things about the modern day car community that just makes no sense. By me, of course. Now, I done put this video together because I'm sitting here, like, in the meantime of me not really making videos, trying to, come up with ideas and all that. I was really just like sitting here and I was like, there's a lot of people that just don't understand anything about the car community, and they try to put opinions into the car community. And on top of that, there's people that just, like, how do I say it? They just get the facts incorrect. And so this video is kind of just a small little simple video that's gonna address that and all that. I'm gonna really, try to put some quality into this video. So let's get started. First up, though, I want you guys to like and subscribe. As you see, we are over 2,000 subscribers. We have made that definitely, I want to say, over a year ago, but I have not been really posting videos like that. Now I'm finally really back with a setup and all that. I can get you guys those videos that you want. I might even throw some gameplay videos eventually. Subscribe, stick around, more uploads, more updates. Yeah, because I've just been sitting there kind of planning, really thinking about like what videos I should do. It will be worth the wait. I will have more videos coming. I might even throw in some gaming videos. It all really depends. But yes, I will have more videos coming throughout the year. All right. So first off, I want to start by saying, did we forget what car meets are? Like, did we forget what a car meet is? Because honestly, like it's genuinely just insane to see people compare car meets, car shows, and other car mediums and not understand the difference between them. So let's go over that. This is a car meet. Now, there's two different types of car meets. You have a car meet to go to a car show, and then you have a car meet as a gathering. A car meet is not where you expect the craziest cars to be. A car meet is pretty simple. It's usually either you gather up some people, it could be random people, but it's usually like the main type of car meets are usually just the bros. You meet up to talk about the interests of cars and stuff like that. It was never supposed to be, oh yeah, you just take a car meet and try to turn it into a car show. And I feel like not a lot of people understand that. And we'll be getting into that later. And I feel like this kind of where the takeover community mainly came in, because it's like it's not a place to show off. It's also not a place to basically say, oh yeah, where's all these supercars? Where's this? Where's that? It's a car meet. You're meeting other car enthusiasts. You're not meeting to see rare cars unless you're going from a car meet and driving to a car show. There is a difference, and I feel like a lot of people don't really understand that difference. And so that's kind of what I want to say for car meets. Car meets should be pretty simple. As you'll see, they usually either follow a theme or stuff like that, or they usually have a smaller audience. They'll have a chill people. By the way, this is actual footage from a video that I had, and I'm pretty sure it's on a public playlist, so you can see it if you want to go back and watch the car meet, even car show. It was a little bit in between, but I'll honestly, like, looking back at it now, I'll say that it was definitely, it felt more like a car meet. It was nice and calm compared to like a car show. Next up, this is a car show. Here you'll find multiple different types of car cultures, from trucks, supercars, JDM, all that type of stuff. Here's where you go to see more crazy, wild, and unsuspecting vehicles. That's where you go when you want to go to a car show. When you want to look and see those rare, unique cars, you go to a car show. You don't go to a car meet to try and find GT3 RSs, to try and find four GTs like shown in the image. You don't go to a car meet for that, unless you know some people that are well off. But like, realistically, you don't go to a car meet for that. You go to a car show for that. And a lot of people, I don't think they really understand the difference. Like, people always be like, okay, man, I hate going up to the car meet and I'm seeing a couple of Subarus, a couple of this, a couple of regular traffic. You're meeting other car enthusiasts. You're not meeting about, like, how do I say it? You're not meeting directly about looking for rare cars and stuff like that, and just a big event. You're meeting to talk to other people and to share an experience. That's the difference. And I'm not saying you can't do the same at the car show. You can, but trust me, when you actually experience it in person, there is a difference, and that's the problem with a lot of these people. They like to talk without actually experiencing it in person first, and it's actually way better when you experience it in person, even for a car meet, even if it's a smaller version of a car show, because you get to learn more about people within the community. Now, this one is another one, and I feel like a lot of people are not going to know about this. By the way, the last image in the slide that was also footage. All of this currently right now is footage from me personally. Obviously, there will be some stuff later that's not my footage, or rather my images and all that. And I got that kind of off of, like, Google. But so with these though, as we see here, this is an auto show. Now, the difference from an auto show between a car show and a car meet is that an auto show is brand new cars usually. Now, there will be some cool, rare cars here, classics, one of one type of cars, like just stuff like that that you're not really used to seeing. You could find some very rare cars here at auto shows, but it all depends on which auto show and if they want to bring it to that auto show. There usually is a little car show within the auto show, which is something that a lot of people don't know. But for the most part, auto shows are usually to look at new cars and really get an understanding of what's about to come out in the future and stuff like that. And the cool part about auto shows is the fact that you can actually go inside of those cars. Now, depending on the car, if it's like later release, let's say you're going to like a auto show this year. I had to record myself there, but let's say you're going to an auto show this year, right? 2026, and the car is set for like 2028, 2029. Do not expect to get in that car. I'm gonna be honest with you, because as we see in this image here, this car was actually at the auto show before this one that I went to. I'm pretty sure this was 2024. Yeah, this was 2024. And it was at the, I want to say it was at the 2023 auto show that I went to. But the difference was it was locked because it was like, I'm pretty sure this car, yeah, it got released in 2025 or so, around that time. So it wasn't really ready to be shown off fully to the public yet. But in 2024, I was able to step foot inside the car for the first time and actually sit inside of it. And that's the real cool thing about these auto shows, is that you really can look at the details of the cars and how they build them up. Obviously, the details vary depending on the brand and manufacturer. Some are cheap, some are more luxurious. It all comes down to personal preference. And also on top of that, it's a good place to go if you want to look into buying a future car. If you are a person who, has that type of money to spend and are just looking for something to get that's brand new. So that's really all I got to say about that topic. Let's head on to the next one. Car enthusiasts are not the target audience of takeovers, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand this. And even I'll be honest, I feel like the media doesn't understand this. The media likes to say, "Oh yeah, street racing takeovers. This is not street racing." Not as we clearly see in the footage, these cars aren't racing against each other from a point to point destination or around the location. No, they are literally just drifting in a circle at a stoplight, disrupting traffic. That is the difference between street racing and a takeover, and I feel like a lot of people don't really understand that. On top of that, um, how do I say it? A lot of these takeovers, what makes them very annoying, in my opinion, like obviously there's gonna be people in the comments who I like takeovers, but what makes it very annoying, in my opinion, is that it does bad rep to the people who are actually into cars because it makes the like just the average Joe believe, oh yeah, these are the people that's in the cars. No, they are not in the cars. You want to know what they are into? They're into clout. They chase clout, not cars. That's the difference. If you ask them what their favorite car is, you see the do just for yourself or gifts. We got Dodge Challenger or Charger. I think it's been a minute. We got the Porsche GT3 RS, and I'm pretty sure this is the G80 M3. Correct me if I'm wrong. But these are basically the three big, like the big three that they usually use and all that. So what they're about is getting popularity, and they want to see the numbers run up. That's the difference. They want to see the numbers run up. They're not really into caring about, how do I say, they're not really into caring about the idea of just talking about cars, chilling about cars and stuff like that. They're not really into that because that's not their kind of style. Let's be realistic. And let's actually think about it. If you go to a person who's at a takeover right now and you ask them name five Euro spec cars, they're not gonna be able to name five. If you go to a person at a takeover and you ask them name five cars that are like in a specific genre, a specific niche, they're not gonna be able to answer that question depending on the genre and niche. And it's like, why? Like, why put yourself in a community or try to put yourself a part of the community? It's the what's the 2025 term for it? LARP. They're faking being a car guy, to be honest. And half of them, they, like I said, they aren't even car guys. They're not even into it for the cars. They're just into it for the hype. That's the thing. And so I want to get to my next topic because a lot of these people also do this, and I find it more common in a bunch of newer car guys. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, myself, I'm still young, so realistically, I still am a new car guy in a way. But I have been into cars basically my whole entire life. That's the thing. I've been into cars ever since I really had a consciousness. The first thing that I saw was a Hot Wheels, and it's like, how do I say it? How do I say it? I feel like a lot of these newer wannabe or potential like people that are still growing within the car community. What's the term for it? I'm pretty sure Bladed Angel said it. Fletchling enthusiasts. A lot of them don't understand the differences of having different community niches. As we see here, we have Bozozoku cars. These are cars with wide, crazy, and bizarre body kits. Their style like that, that's the style that they like. You may not like it, but that's the style that they like. You could call it rice, but that's the style that they like. And honestly, that's the difference. They're willing to actually have a style that they want for themselves and that a style that they can actually enjoy for themselves. Too many people sit here and pocket watch in a way. That's basically what I'm gonna say. Too many people sit here and pocket watch other people's builds and expect them to go down a basic like just style. I'm tired of seeing people like try to force people to go down a specific style with their build. Oh, why do you have this V8 car and you can't even like it sounds weird and all that. Like there was a popular video. It was recent. I want to say like last couple of weeks. There was a I'm pretty sure it was a kit car of a Shelby Cobra, and like the way that the pipes were aligned, it was a high pitch sounding V8, and these guys were so mad because it wasn't angry. They were like, that's not a real V8. That's a fake V8 because it sounds high pitched. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, shut up. Like genuinely, just shut up. Like, what are you complaining about? It's not your car, first off. Second off, it actually sounds really good. Just because your ears aren't attuned to listening to it doesn't mean that you're required to just sit there and then give a horrible take on it based off of your own personal preference. And that's another thing. I feel like too many people don't realize. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to have an opinion. Like I said, you can hate all these niches all you want, but there's a difference between hating them and disrespecting them. And like honestly, that's what I should have made the title. A lot of these people they just disrespect them. They outright act like you can't have these niches because that's not what they like. Do you know how self-centered that sounds? That sounds genuinely stupid. And so it's like it doesn't matter if someone has a donk, a lowrider, or a Motozoku car. If that's the community that they're in, that's the community that they're in. And if you complain about that, don't get me wrong. Like I said, that's fine. But if you sit there and disrespect that and try to take away from its like branch in the car community, that's just honestly weird. And so it's like I'm about to say, it's like music. Over here, we got Sofego. He's a bit of an underground rapper, not fully underground now, because he signed to Travis Scott. But he's a rapper, he's an artist, he uses auto tune and stuff like that. Over here we got Jan Wayne, a little bit of an older rapper, has his own southern country style hip hop. And then over here we have Muse. They're more into rock, electronic stuff like that. As we see, we have three different genres of music. But here's the thing, they each have their own fans. Now, in a way, it's like obviously, music is a very, very opinionated place to be. And it's the same thing with cars. It's just like music. And it's like, how do I say it? You can dislike one. You could dislike Jan Wayne and like Sofago, or you could dislike Muse and like Jan Wayne. It really it doesn't matter. But what makes it disrespectful is when you start to give out unnecessary hate. Like when I mean unnecessary hate, it's like disrespect. You acting like, oh yeah, your career shouldn't exist because I personally don't like it, and that's weird. Like that, like even as much as Jam Wayne gets joked upon and all that, I'm pretty sure he's probably seen the jokes himself. Like it's like at least he has his audience. Same with Sofago, same with Muse. They have their own audiences. And that's what makes them different. That's what makes them special. They have their own communities, they have their own fans, stuff like that. That's what's important. So there's a difference between hating and disrespect, obviously, but more so disrespect is something that shouldn't be tolerated. But hating could be understood, but not too much hating. You get what I mean? Because hating usually will lead to disrespect. And on top of that, not everyone is here to chase the stats. Too many people are either, oh yeah, your car has to look like it's ore farming, or your car has to basically be this high horsepower beast. Not everyone's chasing drag racing speed 0 to 60 in 2.1 seconds, top speed 250 type stuff. Not everybody's into that. There are some people, and this is another thing, like, how do I say it? This is another thing. It is very important because it's going to eventually lead into a future statement. But what makes this important is the fact that a lot of these people don't realize why certain cars are priced the way that they're priced, and they only simply base it off of 0 to 60, top speed, and how fast it could go in a straight line. And I must say right now, that is the most dumbest thing that you can possibly do because it makes no sense to judge stuff based off of only three factors of performance. Not every single car is as expensive as it is for simply performance. Like I've stated many times before, I'm pretty sure. There's some cars that are expensive for its rarity, luxury, and just overall its uniqueness. Like it's stuff like that that also increase the price. And I feel like a perfect example of something like that is the Ford GTD. Uh, I'm pretty sure that's the name. But with that Ford GTD is how do I say it? Don't get me wrong. Do I think it's a little bit overpriced? I'll be honest with you. Yeah, but as we've seen and as the records have shown, the car is fast for what it is. On top of that, that's not the car that you would expect Ford to make. So you gotta really think about it and you gotta respect where they're coming from in order to make a car like that. Like, let's be real. Outside of the Ford GT, when you think of a Ford Mustang, the GTD, if you look back a couple years ago and tell someone, oh yeah, they're gonna make this crazy body kit track beast based off their GTD cars, no one would really heavily believe you like that. They'll probably think that you're just talking about like a challenge car or just like a stripped version of the GT3 car that was made legal. But now here we are. We have the GTD, and I just don't understand why people try to like drag that type of stuff down. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Number 4, gaining experience with driving. And now, let's be real here. A lot of people buy cars that they cannot control, and it just makes no sense to do that. A lot of people forget that they should build their way up. I'm not saying like building in a car way, but I mean build up your experience and control and understanding. Cause like realistically, anybody with a brain, the first car you're not gonna buy is a Viper. You're not gonna just say, "Oh yeah, I got a nice little 140,000. I'm gonna go buy a Viper." That doesn't make any sense. because you want to, how do I say, you want to focus in trying to build up your skill level. You want to start small and eventually get big. And I feel like a lot of people, they don't understand that. They'll try to just buy the maximum spec car and then end up crashing it. And now they're mad because now they don't have that car. So, like I stated, do not go big or go home. What you want to do is, instead of going from the SVJ and crashing it to the Camry, you want to go from the Camry to the SVJ. That's the smarter way to go about it. Well, actually, obviously, there's steps in between that. So don't just go from the Camry to the SVJ. You want to go from the Camry to the Mustang to the BMW, like, and then I guess a Huracan, and then you want to go to the SVJ. But yeah, that's all I really got to say for this little segment right here. But I'm not done yet. Real quick, like I stated before, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. But let's get to number 5. Understanding trims and specs. Believe it or not, a lot of people in the modern day car community do not understand the difference between trims and specs, and they don't even understand what trims and specs are. So, as you see, we have 3 different Mercedes here. What's the difference between all of them? They're not the same. I know that's kind of odd, right? That's crazy because they're all Mercedes, but they're not the same outside of the obvious visual fact. But this one right here, this is a Mercedes Benz. This is the car that most people think that they're getting when it comes to just getting a Mercedes. They think they're getting a high class Mercedes, and in reality, no, you're just getting the lower level economy version. And a lot of people don't really understand that. Obviously, there are higher trims within Mercedes Benz itself, but usually these people will usually get the lower trims thinking that they have a higher trim, and they'll end up spending a whole lot in terms of repairs and not realize this is a basic economy car that's being overcharged simply because of the brand itself. And which, in reality, back in the home state, I say home state anyway, home country of that vehicle is as basic as possible for the repairs. Next up, here, now this is an AMG. This is a 4-door. I forgot the full name. I think it might be just AMG GT 4-door. But basically, it's pretty simple. This is the one that people want to actually have, but it's expensive because it's the highest trim inside of that company. It's the fastest that the company themselves are able to make it or that they want it to go. This is usually the one that, people that actually have and can afford it will usually go for. And this one over here, I'm pretty sure, I'm assuming, given the image right here, this might or may not be a Brabus. I would hope it is because that's what I was trying to go for this example. But if this is or isn't a Brabus, that's going to be my other topic. Brabus. Now, Brabus, they're basically a tuner company for a lot of German cars and stuff like that, mainly Mercedes. And the difference is they make the cars like this and make them even faster, even wilder, and more rarer. That's the difference. Something like this isn't a trim or a spec. This is its own thing. And now, what makes that important, in my personal opinion, is the fact that a lot of people will try to flex the stats of certain cars around certain track times, not realizing that they're a modified version from a in-house production team that aren't actually the company itself or the base version of the vehicle that they're trying to flex. And I feel like a lot of people need to understand that. As we see here, we have the Mercedes Benz. It's a very simple car. Nah, I don't really think I need to explain that all fully over again. But yeah, so what I want people to understand is this right here is its own separate thing. This is a binge, a lower level binge trim. This right here, now this, honestly, mm, I would say it's kind of difficult when it comes to German cars. So honestly, I'll say on myself that this wasn't really the best example. But trying to find a way to word it more so, I wouldn't say this is a trim, but then again, some people might classify it as a trim because AMG and Benz they are separate. So honestly, you could say this is a trim. It's not really a spec. This is like in between an in-house separate project and a spec. To be honest with you, so it's not really both of these at all. That's why it's its own thing, and that's like really the difference that I want y'all to understand. But let's get on to the next slide, where we'll explain trims. So over here we have the C8 Corvette. Right here is the Z806, and I'm pretty sure this might actually be the ZR1X. I'm not too sure, but yeah, this is just a C8, and this is also a C8, but they're two different trims. This one is the entry level trim. It's the basic trim that most people will be getting when they buy a C8. And this one right here, this is the highest level trim, the upper echelon, the one that people call a supercar mainly. Now, realistically, they're both supercars, let's be honest. And a lot of people, they're going to be annoyed at that calling the Corvette a supercar. But let's face it, and this is probably my hottest take. Like, obviously, everybody's going to have their hot takes. But I believe that the C6 Z06 over here, the C6 Corvette, is a supercar. And how do I say? I'm gonna plug it in later, but this car is a supercar because it has the same amount of production put into it as the GT3 RS of the time. I'm gonna plug it in somewhere around here if you guys can see it. But not only do they have a similar amount of units made, but this car also has the performance. It may not have the luxury, but it also has the similar rarity, similar performance, and it also has its own uniqueness. It fits 3 out of the 4 categories. And in my opinion, if you can fit 3 out of the 4 categories overall, that automatically can make you a supercar. If you can fit 2 out of the 4 to an extreme example, that also can make you a supercar. But if you can't fit 2 out of 4 to an extreme example, that does not make you a supercar. And I feel like a lot of people they don't really understand that. I know like there's people out there they'll be like the C6 is a muscle car. Yes, the base C6 can be a muscle car, but the Z6 ZR1, even though it has the muscle still, it is definitely a supercar. It has that supercar appeal to it that you don't really find in the previous generations. But here we have specs. We have the Pagani Zonda, the car that was made in 1999 by Horacio Pagani. And then we have this, this, and this. Now, they all have differences. And that's what specs are. They're specifications. They're all Pagani Zondas, but they all each have their own specs. This right here is the Pagani Zonda Cinque. It's different and it has its own unique modifications along with its own different set of rarity. But it is still a Pagani Zonda. That is the difference between a spec and a trim. It is still based off this while using little modifications and having its own, set of numbers to really, make it stand out. But realistically, it's still under the Zonda name. If you catch what I'm saying, like it's a little bit different from a trim. Cause specs are basically, like I said, it's like a modified version of the stock car. And realistically, you could say the same for trims, but the only difference is specs are usually, how do I say it? Specs are usually custom ordered, whereas trims are already a package deal essentially. Here we have the last type of Pagani Zonda that they released, the final one. As we see, it also has its own unique design, and it's a little bit more absurd. But at the end of the day, when you look at these three, you can tell that they're Pagani Zondas. Now, honestly, I'll make a special case for the Zonda R because you can definitely tell that there is, how do I say, in a way, there is a difference. First off, this car is not even street legal, if I'm not mistaken. Second off, the design is just far, far too different from these guys. It's like a long tail with a more unique approach and all that, a different type of arrow kit. So realistically, I would say this is more of a its own thing, but it still follows that spec idea. But for the most part, it still is kind of its own thing. That's why I put it over here compared to these three. These three are more so, specs and stuff like that. And that's about it. That's all I gotta say. Like and subscribe. Icy Boy Gaming out.